celebrating the heart of living local. With your host, Jaclyn Friedlander. You're watching ciLiving, sponsored by Stephanie Pratt.
If you have ever wondered what it takes to make sourdough bread, it is much simpler than you would imagine. Take a look at this. Central Illinois Bakehouse is on a mission to create a sustainable artisan bakery company that is a meaningful part of the community. Joining me today in the kitchen are Georgia and Alisa. Welcome to ciLiving.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you.
All right, so tell me about CI Bakehouse.
Yeah, so the Bakehouse is a locally owned and operated business. We are a wholesale bakery, so we do a lot of baking for restaurants and grocery stores, and our main focus is sourdough. And so sourdough is, instead of using yeast in your loaf, you would use your sourdough starter,
Okay.
which takes wild yeast and bacteria from the environment and the air around it, and just makes a truly unique loaf of bread.
Got it. Interesting. Okay, and is that what we're making here today?
Yeah. And so after you make your starter, your initial starter, it'll usually take about 12 to 24 hours to mature.
Okay.
And at that point, you're ready to start baking.
All right, and so let's make some sourdough starter.
Awesome.
Tell me what to do.
Yeah, so here we've got some water, and the most important part is bread flour.
Oh,
bread
okay.
flour has higher protein content than your normal cake flour or just normal all-purpose.
Okay.
And so that's going to help our starter really stay firm and structured rather than like kind of getting loose and falling apart.
And how long can you keep a starter for? Because I know some people have a sourdough starter that has gotten so good they leave it to somebody as part of an inheritance and things like that. So,
Sourdough starters can pretty much keep going forever. There's
Okay.
starters that have been going for like hundreds of years.
Wow.
Yeah, so as long as you keep feeding it and discarding what's left, then you can keep a healthy starter for as long as you want it.
All right, 2 questions. How do you feed it, and how do you know what to discard?
Gotcha, yeah. So feeding it is when you take it out of the fridge the next day to get ready to bake, you'll use it to bake in your loaf. And then afterwards, what's left over, you need to replenish that. And so you'll usually take that and 50-50 of flour and water. And then you'll just mix all that up together and then put it back in the fridge and it'll be ready the next day.
Amazing. All right, well, let's do it. Let's make a 100-year-old sourdough starter.
Awesome. So we're gonna take the water and go ahead and pour 100 grams in there.
Okay. Oh, I did 128. Do I need to
Perfect.
pour some back, or is that
You can
okay?
just do 128 of flour.
Oh, okay.
So that's the beauty about sourdough, is that you kind of just do 50-50.
Okay.
And whatever your first measurement is, you can just keep doing that.
In that
I
sense,
see. Okay.
In that sense, do you find that it's pretty forgiving?
Yes, sourdough is very forgiving in my experience.
Interesting. And I feel like this is so simple, whereas I've always thought sourdough starters were these impossible, magical things that if you didn't have one, you couldn't make sourdough.
The sourdough craze of the 2020s, I think, complicated it a lot for people.
Right.
But hopefully this will help. Like, it's really this simple. It's just flour and water. And I really love the fact that every house and every bakery truly has their own sourdough starter. And it's just from your own natural bacteria and yeast in your home.
And does the starter change the flavor of the bread?
Yeah. So the fun thing about sourdough is it really changes the flavor of the bread in that the fermentation style of the starter produces lactic acid, which is what makes sourdough so bright and tangy.
Ooh, okay.
And sour.
Right.
And so that's what we get from the starter, and that like unique fermentation and way of producing yeast.
Got it. And then do I stir it? Or, okay.
Yeah, so we'll go ahead and mix that all up.
Stir it up. Okay.
Is this your first time doing a sourdough?
It is. Like I said, I really thought it was complicated to make the starter, so I didn't know. And then how do you use it to bake? So ultimately, I guess this would be one of the ingredients in the bread recipe, or?
Yeah, so ideally you'd have this in your fridge. So once this is done, it would go in the fridge for about 12 hours, and then you could let it sit on the counter for a little bit after that. And then your recipe would usually say X amount of grams of your starter, and then that's what you would use.
And it's just so simple, flour and water, but it smells really good already.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So yeah, there you go.
Well, thank you so much for being here and telling us all about CU Bakehouse and teaching us how to make a starter. So simple.
Yeah, it's really just that simple. And now you're ready to start baking bread.
Amazing. Well, if you want more information, you can visit us on the web at ciLiving.tv after the show.